What happened backstage? Between Ozzy Osbourne and Yungblud at Back to the Beginning concert, beneath the massive steel structures of Villa Park, the heart of Birmingham prepared for a night written in the language of thunder. It was July the 5th, 2025. The night rock would look back at its own reflection. Before we begin, the narrator adds warmly, tell us where in the world you're watching from. And hit that subscribe button for more powerful stories right here on Bikers Hype. Don't forget to like and share this video with your friends who live and breathe music. The shot cuts to the stage floor, covered in cables like veins of lightning. Technicians move like ghosts under red work lights. Posters of Back to the Beginning, the final ride of Ozzy Osbourne hang on every steel column. Backstage, the air hums with distortion tests and the echo of heavy riffs from soundcheck. Metallica, Slayer, Pantera, legends tightening strings, tapping microphones and roaring into amps. In the quietest room backstage sits Ozzy Osbourne, 76 years old, the Prince of Darkness himself, hands trembling softly from Parkinson's. Beside him, Sharon, the iron soul who's walked with him through decades of chaos and glory. We're going to make this night unforgettable, darling, Ozzy says, his smile tired but real. Unforgettable, Sharon echoes, gently fixing his collar. But the most unforgettable moment of the evening wouldn't be his performance. It would be an encounter that would rewrite the meaning of fire. Across the hall, Dominic Harrison, known to millions as Yungblud, paces like a cage storm, 28 years old, black nails, leather pants, and ambition burning like gasoline. He's been chosen to perform Changes with the supergroup A, alongside Living Gods. But Dominic's heart is somewhere else. He's not just there to perform. He's there to take the crown. Tonight's the night I show them who the future of rock really is, he mutters, staring into his phone camera. Watch me take the throne. He posts it, a 10-second clip, and within minutes fans flood his feed. Let's go, King. Make them feel young again. He smirks, unaware that destiny has just pressed record. Electric buzz. Guitar tuning echoes through hallway. As the sun dips below the stands, 40,000 fans surge into Villa Park. Their chants sound like ancient war drums. The air smells of rain, sweat, and adrenaline. Ozzy's dressing room door creaks open. Narration. He walks slowly, each step heavier than the last, his hand on Sharon's arm, his spirit carried by 40 years of echoes. He passes posters of Paranoid, Iron Man, War Pigs, the hymns of a generation, each one a mirror to the boy from Birmingham who once dreamed of being heard. Then from the next corridor, a voice sharp and arrogant. Yeah, mate, Ozzy's done. It's my time now. Watch me show these 40,000 what real energy looks like. The words slice through the hallway like a bad chord. Technicians freeze. A roadie looks away. Ozzy stops walking. Just a minute, he says softly to Sharon. Around the corner, Yungblud is live streaming, his phone tilted toward his tattooed jaw, his confidence amplified by Wi-Fi. Rock needs fresh blood now. I'm going to show Villa Park what the future sounds like. Behind him, Nuno Betancourt and Adam Wakeman exchange glances. They know that tone. They've seen arrogance before, but never this close to royalty. The air thickens. Dominic ends his call, turns around, and freezes. Ozzy Osbourne stands before him. The crowd's distant roar fills the silence between them. Dominic forces a grin. Ozzy, mate. Ready for the show? I'm about to blow everyone's minds tonight. Ozzy's eyes, tired yet alive, scan the boy in front of him. He's seen this 1,000 times, the hunger, the ego, the fear behind it. He nods gently. Good luck tonight, son. I'm sure you'll do great. A simple phrase, heavy with grace. But Dominic mistakes it for weakness. Yeah, well, he says louder. People are here for energy tonight. They want someone who can actually move on stage, not someone who needs to sit on a throne. The corridor goes still. Even the amplifiers seem to go quiet. From the end of the hall, James Hetfield pauses mid-step. He senses a storm brewing. Sharon's hand tightens around Ozzy's arm. He looks at her, his eyes calm as dark glass. Stay calm. I respect what you did in the past, Dominic presses on. But tonight is about the future. Rock's about fire, not nostalgia. Ozzy's lips curl into a faint smile. That familiar, dangerous smile that once froze record executives in the 70s. Son, he says quietly, I've been on fire since before you were born. He steps closer, voice steady. When I was biting heads off bats, when I was screaming metal into the world, you weren't even an idea. You talk about fire, but fire's not noise, it's truth. Dominic's confidence cracks. He opens his mouth, but no sound comes out. From behind, Tony Iommi approaches, his shadow long on the floor. Geezer Butler, Alice Cooper, and a growing circle of musicians gather silently. Ozzy continues, "You think energy makes you immortal? No, son, respect does. Fire without respect burns you alive." The boy's eyes dart around. He's surrounded, not by enemies, by legends. Alice Cooper folds his arms. "Age in rock isn't about your birth certificate. It's about your soul, lad. And right now yours needs tuning." Laughter ripples gently through the crowd. Even the tension bows its head. Tony Iommi steps in, his voice deep and slow. "You play riffs that came from our bones, son. Every scream you make carries our ghosts. So scream with respect." Dominic swallows hard. His voice cracks. I just wanted to prove myself." Ozzy's hand lands gently on his shoulder. "Then prove it on stage. Not by talking, by feeling." Electric guitar echoes from the arena, the sound check of Paranoid. Ozzy smiles faintly. "Do you hear that? That's what real fire sounds like." The corridor fills with the immortal riff. The crowd outside roars as if sensing history unfolding behind the curtain. Dominic lowers his head. The arrogance fades. Only respect remains. That night, beneath the steel of Villa Park, a boy learned what it means to be a man. And a legend reminded the world that true power doesn't scream. It speaks quietly and shakes the earth. In every age, there's a corridor where noise becomes silence, where swagger becomes doubt, where a name chooses whether to be a fad or a future. Tonight, that corridor was painted with set lists, gaffer tape, and the ghosts of every riff that ever mattered. A tech hustles past with a coil of XLR like a python over his shoulder. Another checks talkback mics. A stage manager whispers into her headset. 5 minutes until house check. Copy 5. Yungblud stands there, shoulders squared, eyes not. His phone sits face down in his palm for the first time that day. The glass like a blackened mirror he's not ready to look into. Across from him, Ozzy Osbourne seems lighter than the metal he made famous. Not because the disease has thinned him, but because mercy is somehow weightless. Ozzy soft. Stage is where truth pays rent. Dominic nods, but his throat has turned to chalk. He feels the circle around them. Tony Iommi, granite calm. Geezer Butler, a quiet amp of presence. Alice Cooper, that showman's poise like a cathedral bell that tolls and never breaks. James Hetfield at the far end, arms folded, chin low, eyes bright as a welder's spark. Zach Wilde leans on a case, the shape of an old Les Paul embossed in his shadow. Dominic, small. I went too far. Ozzy, smiling. You only went where every young man goes when he forgets the price of a ticket. A guitar tech rolls by with a rack of instruments. One is an old sunburst with frets polished to moonlight. Dominic's eyes catch the dulled glint. Tony, you play changes with us. You play it like a confession, not like a victory dance. Dominic, I can. Alice, gentle, razor sharp. Then mean it. Somewhere above them, 40,000 throats test the air like a sea inhaling. Flags rise at the far stands. Phone screens bloom like captured stars. The PA breathes, SFX low sub-hum. Heartbeat tempo at 76 BPM. Distant chant. Narrator. There are 4 kinds of silence before a show. The silence of fear. The silence of focus. The silence of prayer. And the silence of judgment. He was listening to all 4 at once. A runner in a laminate badge appears. Super Group A. Stage right. Line check in 2. The circle around Dominic breaks like a tide parting for a single boat. As they walk, Sharon squeezes Ozzy's hand, laces her fingers like a promise. Sharon, whisper, you're still the lighthouse. Ozzy, and he's still a ship. Ships need lighthouses. Lighthouses need storms. They pass Metallica's quick huddle. Knuckles knock knuckles, a battery charge of superstition. Hetfield meets Dominic's eye for a half second. Doesn't smile, doesn't frown. Just gives him a 1, a single index finger pointed down. The unspoken law. Root yourself. Dominic swallows. Roots. He hasn't thought of roots since the first brand deal. Scene 1. Line check stage right. Darkness is alive here. Cables cross like train tracks. The back of the LED wall sweats heat. Through a slit in the grand drape, Dominic sees the pitch, a black ocean under floodlights, tribals of denim and leather, mothers with sons on shoulders, a row of men with the Sabbath S tattooed like a covenant. Monitor engineer overcans. Line check. Focal go. Dominic steps to his mic. He watches Adam Wakeman's fingers ghost the keys. Nuno Betancourt flick a harmonic to wake the overheads. A drummer taps out kicks that rattle the aluminum truss. Dominic breathes. Check 1, 2. His voice comes back to him through 8 wedges and 2 side fills. The sound is too clean. It leaves him nowhere to hide. Zach leaning in. Don't sing to the mic, kid. Sing to the far exit sign. Make that green square believe you. Dominic looks up. Far top left of Villa Park. An exit glows like a lonely portal. He squares his shoulders and hails like a diver. Dominic, check 1, 2. The vowel falls truer this time. Less sugar, more bone. Tony, to no one, to everyone. Good. Stage manager, house to half. Lights ready? After the VT Supergroup A open with changes, you've got a 3-minute intro pad. Don't miss your cue. Dominic nods. His stomach flips once. He thinks of the live stream he did in that corridor, how he measured himself in views. Embarrassment licks the back of his neck like a fever. He thinks I'm here because of a song that was here before me. Alice to Dominic sotto voce. You can keep your crown. Just earn your name. Scene 2. The flashback bridge. Cue. Soft piano stems from Adam's Nord. Key of E-flat. Camera pan across Ozzy's eyes. Brown glass bruised with memory. Narrator. Before a man sings a song, the song sings the man. And Changes had been singing Ozzy since 1972. Ozzy turns away from the stage for a moment and listens, not to the crowd, not to the crew, but to the tunnel inside where 1,000 nights of smoke and glass still flicker. Flash frames. A Birmingham row house. A boy running past a factory fence. A young Ozzy tasting copper on a split lip. A microphone like a lighthouse in a storm of bodies. Ozzy, to Sharon, quiet. You remember the first time I played it for you? I sounded like I was trying to apologize to the whole world. Sharon, you were. And the world forgave you because you asked properly. He smiles. Parkinson's tremor travels like a small bird through his hand. Sharon stills it with hers. Ozzy, look at him. Gestures toward Dominic. He's shaking for a different reason. Sharon, so teach him a different reason. Scene 3. The lesson, just off the scrim. Between the smell of pyro resin and lemony guitar polish, there's a square of shadow where the light doesn't quite reach. Ozzy steps into it with Dominic. Ozzy, close your eyes. Dominic rattled. On stage? Ozzy, for a second, smiles. Trust an old bat. Dominic closes his eyes. The darkness is not empty. It's a planet full of sounds. Gaffer tape crinkles somewhere. A cymbal sighs. 1,000 living hearts syncopate. Ozzy, hear that? That's 40,000 people. But don't sing to them. Sing for the boy who didn't have anyone sing to him when he needed it most. Dominic's face softens like a clenched fist letting go. Ozzy, who was he? Silence. Then Dominic. Railway bridge, Doncaster, 12 years old. Dad left. Mum sleeping during the day because nights were too hard. I wrote songs in a cracked notebook with a pen that ran out halfway through a chorus. Ozzy's smile turns into something solemn. Ozzy, that boy deserves to hear you tonight. Not the internet. Dominic opens his eyes. There's water there, but it's not panic. It's the truth waking. Ozzy, now sing Changes like you're telling him the world won't stay cruel forever. A voice on comms interrupts. VT rolling. 30 seconds, Ozzy curls his finger. Come closer. Dominic leans in. Ozzy speaks low, a secret between votive candles. Ozzy, I'll be side stage. If you forget the words, look right. I'll give you the line with my eyes. Dominic chokes a laugh. How do eyes sing? Ozzy, been doing it a long time. Cue. Stadium VT. Black and white montage of Birmingham Mills, Sabbath posters, a kid's hand on a transistor radio. Crowd roars. House lights drown. A fan sobs and grins at once. Camera cranes over a field of arms. MC, voice of God. Birmingham, are you ready? The answer is an earthquake. Floods of white backlight paint the band as silhouettes. Adam at keys, Nuno at guitar, a rhythm section locked like a vault. At center mic, the boy who wanted a throne. He doesn't want it anymore. Dominic into darkness. This one's for the ones who change when no one's watching. The piano figure begins, hesitant, human. The first line arrives on a thread. Dominic sings, "I'm going through changes." He lets the word changes hang, not perform. The melody walks instead of sprints. On the third bar, strings enter from playback like rain learning how to fall. Narrator. In the cheap seats, a miner's son stops filming. In the VIP box, a manager forgets his networking smile. On the East Stand, a nurse in an Aussie tee hears the first time she forgave her father. The crowd is no longer many. It is 1.2 verse. Dominic's voice warms, the way steel glows just before it forgives the hammer. Cut to stage right. Ozzy stands half in shadow, half in light. He mouths the bridge for Dominic, one syllable ahead, no sound, all soul. Bridge, Dominic. Earlier cockiness gone, replaced by reverence. It took so long to realize. The lights dim to a bruised blue. A single follow spot skims Dominic's profile, jaw unclenched, eyes searching the far exit sign like Zach told him to. He finds it. He sings to it. Dominic. That I can still hear her last goodbyes. On goodbyes, his voice fractures, not a crack, a confession. The crowd inhales as one. Tony, aside to Geezer. He found the key that wasn't on the fretboard. Geezer. Respect. The last chorus lifts, not by volume, by honesty. Nuno's guitar is a river held in both hands, refusing to flood, choosing to carry. Cymbals kiss the air rather than kiss it goodbye. Adam's left hand writes a prayer under the right. Dominic, near whisper. I'm going through changes. He doesn't belt. He doesn't need to. Every seat in Villa Park quietly sings the line back to him. There are planets less bright than that moment. He ends not with a run, but with a period. Silence falls. The kind that stands up and takes its hat off, then detonation. 40,000 people erupt. Not for spectacle. For witness, Dominic turns to stage right. Ozzy is there, hand over heart. He doesn't clap. He bows, old spine, new light. Dominic mouths, "Thank you." Ozzy mouths back, "Now you're a singer." Scene 5, the apology that counts backstage. The concrete feels softer somehow. Sweat cools. The lights behind them chase other songs, other bands. Tonight is a constellation and everyone's a star in turn. Dominic finds Ozzy by a flight case that has seen more airports than men do lifetimes. Dominic. I was wrong. Ozzy shrugs kindly. You were young. Dominic. I still am. Ozzy, grinning. So don't waste it. Alice arrives with 2 paper cups of water like their sacramental wine. Alice. To humility. Tastes better than it sounds. They clink cardboard. Tony lays a hand on Dominic's shoulder, a blessing that feels like granite warmed in a campfire. Tony. You'll carry the old songs well if you keep your neck bowed like that. Dominic, to all. Let me carry something for you all tonight. Gear. Anything. Laughter. Soft and earned. Zach. Carry this. Hands over a towel with a mess of sweat and eyeliner. Part of the job, brother. Dominic takes it like it's a banner. Sharon, stepping in, eyes bright with pride. You did beautifully. Dominic, to her. He did. I just followed his eyes. Sharon looks at Ozzy's eyes, damp with a pride that's hard to hold. She reaches up, wipes the corners without making an announcement of it. Sharon, whisper. This is what the music was for in the first place. Scene 6. The interlude of legends. Cue. A quick change of sets. Pantera's crew threads needle swift to set the next battlefield. The hallway becomes a museum of moving parts. In a corner where the noise is only a roar and not yet a storm, James Hetfield ambles over, that grin finally flashing like a chrome edge. Hetfield, kid, nods once. Good, you let the song be the boss. Dominic, stunned. Thank you. Hetfield. Tell your ego to carry my guitar sometime if it gets heavy again. Winks. They laugh. The laugh rattles something old and unhappy out of Dominic's chest. Narrator. Approval from gods is not a door opening. It's a weight leaving. He could feel the floorboards of his future steady. Across the way, Geezer hands Dominic a scribbled set of notes. Minor thirds in the pre-chorus Durairsk Midnight. Don't be afraid of midnight. He pockets the paper like a relic. Nuno flicks him a pick with the corners rounded from 1,000 choruses. Nuno, you only get one spine. Keep it straight when the money asks you to fold. Dominic, I will. Nuno, then you're one of us. The backstage lounge breathes with old couches and newer legends. There's a mirror wall where lights are lined like pearls. It turns anyone who stands before it into an honest picture. Sharon guides Dominic to it. Sharon, what do you see? He expects to see the brand, slick hair, rings, a logo you can monetize. But the mirror does not sell him to himself. It returns him to the boy under the railway bridge, with a notebook soaked by fog and stubbornness. Dominic, I see. Home. Sharon, soft. Good. Carry that on stage, not the phone. She leans closer, voice barely a thread. Sharon, he's not done teaching you. Dominic, I don't deserve it. Sharon, no one does. We just try to deserve it by the end. Later in the set, there's a planned moment. A coda in the night where surprises become altars. In a quiet utility corridor that smells of paint and rain-cooled concrete, Ozzy sits on a flight case with a battered acoustic. Its top is checked with age like good leather. Its sound hole is a mouth that has told too many truths to lie now. Ozzy, come here. Dominic sits cross-legged like a schoolboy facing a headmaster, except the headmaster has mascara in his fine lines and the eyes of a saint who swore at heaven and got forgiven anyway. Ozzy, 3 chords, 1 vow. Strums G, C, D with a tremor that can't touch the time in his bones. You don't need more for honesty. Dominic, hushed. What song? Ozzy, a new one. It isn't written yet. It's called Inheritance. Dominic's breath stops. He doesn't dare look at Sharon, who stands 5 paces back, hands over her mouth as if holding in a cathedral. Ozzy, you start it. I'll follow. If I drop it, you carry it. If you drop it, I'll pick it up. That's family. Dominic, tears threading. Why me? Ozzy. Because you broke and chose to be made instead of remade. He places the guitar into Dominic's hands. It's heavier than sound, lighter than hubris. Ozzy, play a G, Dominic does. The note is not perfect. It is truer. Ozzy hums a melody that seems to have been waiting under his tongue for years. The words come like prayer beads found in an old jacket. Ozzy, half-sung, I'll give you the fire if you bring the light. Dominic catches it, threads a harmony like a second rope thrown down a well. Dominic, I'll carry the night if you name the night. They both laugh, astonished children in a cavern of noise. Ozzy, that's it. That's the river. We'll do the rest on stage or not. Sometimes the promise is the song. Stagehand, poking head in. Mr. Osbourne, 5 to cue if you still want that walk-on. Ozzy, we still want it. He stands. Sharon helps him settle the jacket on his shoulders like armor. Dominic rises with the guitar still warm from the man who made the dark safe. Ozzy to Dominic, if they boo we sing, if they cheer we sing, if they go quiet. Smiles. We sing softer. They take the service tunnel that points like an arrow under the stands and spills into light. Security peels back like respectful reeds. A lad in a steward vest wipes his eyes when he realizes who is walking past. A woman in a vintage No More Tears shirt presses both palms to her heart and doesn't move aside. She parts without touching, as if a procession is a kind of tide. At the tunnel mouth, Tony waits with a hand on the shoulder of a man who taught the world to hear iron sing. Geezer nods once, an oath sworn without words. Alice taps Ozzy's fist, then Dominic's, then pulls them both into a brief hug that smells like stage fog and peppermint. Tony, ready, John. The name strikes a bell. John Michael Ozzy Osbourne. In the name, a boy returns for a heartbeat, thanks his city, thanks his mother, thanks his luck, thanks his punishment. Ozzy to Dominic. Stay with me. They step into the light. Cue. Screen wipes to black. One line appears in white. Birmingham. The stadium screams. House spots snap to a soft gold. No track, no click, only breath. Ozzy takes the center. He doesn't sit. He stands, spine a flagpole, jaw a vow. The tremor in his hand is not a flaw. It is a candle letting you know it is real flame. Dominic stands one step to his left, the acoustic fitted against his ribs like a second heartbeat. Ozzy, into mic, simple. I've got one more in me. The crowd detonates. He raises a hand, not to hush them, to bless them. They hush anyway. Ozzy, this is called inheritance. It ain't finished. Neither are we. He turns to Dominic, nods. Dominic strikes a G. Ozzy, singing, voice sanded by oceans, still unmistakable. I built a house of thunder. You can sleep there when it rains. I kept a key for wonder. You can wear it on your chain. I'll give you all my darkness if you promise me your light. We don't choose to be legends. We just choose to be right. Dominic's harmony slips in like dawn through a boarded window. The crowd goes mercifully silent. Phones lower, mouths part, the human animal recognizes a birth. Dominic answer. I'll keep a chair beside you for the nights I lose my way. I'll light a match of mercy when the shadows want to stay. If we forget the chorus, we will sing it from our scars. You taught me what a name is. It's the echo of your heart. Ozzy laughs into the mic, a ragged, joyful sound that makes the hair rise on the forearms of men who've worked steel and women who've raised sons in rooms with leaky roofs. He turns to the band on the fly. Adam catches the root. Nuno paints a filigree of harmonics. Geezer adds a bowed low D from somewhere left of heaven. Time suspends. Stadiums aren't meant to be chapels. Tonight, Villa Park forgets what it's meant to be. They end the song unison soft, a palm on the snare, a breath on the last G. No big finish, just a landing so gentle fate herself shouldn't stub a toe. Silence blooms. The crowd inhales to scream, but something holier happens first. 40,000 people whisper thank you. You can't hear it on recordings. You have to be in the air where gratitude vibrates. Then, roar. A roar that writes itself into the steel. Ozzy leans to the mic again. Ozzy, pass it on. He hands the guitar to Dominic. Not forever, for now. For the vow. For the bridge that won't fall in the rain. Dominic receives it like ash on the forehead on a Wednesday he wasn't expecting. Back in the corridor of cables and prayers, the din recedes into the walls. Dominic stares down at the guitar. That guitar feeling history puddle warm along the wing of his palm where the bout rests. Dominic, I don't know how to deserve this. Ozzy, then spend the rest of your life learning. He lays a trembling hand against Dominic's cheek, the way fathers do after they have forgiven their sons. Ozzy, the internet will say 1,000 things tomorrow. Let them. The truth is that single syllable you put on change. That's where I knew you. Dominic, voice thick. You knew me? Ozzy, I knew you when you were under that bridge. I knew you because I've been under my own. Sharon steps in. She isn't crying. She is weather. Dignified. Real. Sharon, let's take a picture. A roadie snaps it with hands that have built worlds. 3 faces. The legend, the lighthouse, and the ship that found it. Narrator. There are photographs that age by fading, and photographs that age by deepening. This one would turn into an icon and then into a story told in green rooms when the amps sleep. A commotion rises at the far end. Metallica prepping for a surprise thrash medley that will turn bones to glitter. Slayer's shadow passes like a scythe with a giggle. Pantera high-fives a security guard who looks like he could lift Wolverhampton. Ozzy eases into a chair to rest. Dominic kneels, then stops himself and sits cross-legged again. Dominic, I wanted your throne. Ozzy chuckles. Uncomfortable things, thrones. Spiky cushions. Keep a stool, kid. Easier on the back, they grin. The kind that lifts crow's feet and pays off debts the mouth once wrote checks it couldn't cash. Ozzy, promise me something. Dominic, anything. Ozzy, when a kid comes at you with too much noise and not enough ears, you give him your eyes. Dominic nods. It lands in him like a commandment that doesn't wound. Dominic, I will. Ozzy, then my work tonight is done. Sharon squeezes his hand again. The tremor has stories to tell. It's quieter now. Not because disease has paused. Because peace speaks louder for a while. They return to stage edge as the night roars through its galaxies. When star after star leaves their light on the boards become a sky. Ozzy watches like a king and a fan and a child. A chant starts in the north stand. Crowd, rolling unstoppable. Ozzy! Ozzy, Ozzy! He lifts his hand and points it outward, turns it into you. The chant flips, crowd laughing, crying, You! Dominic's shoulders shake. He's laughing and crying too. He feels ridiculous and holy. Narrator. There are nights that brand you and nights that unbrand you. He understood. This one had done both. The show closes in a bloom of pyro that writes names on the dark and then erases them so only the echo survives. Buses rumble. Cases slam. The pitch empties to a confetti of beer cups and vows. Backstage is a library of exhausted miracles. People talk in low voices not because there's a rule, but because awe asks politely. Dominic finds a storage room with an old road trunk and sits on it. The guitar lies across his knees. The trunk reads Beham, Hammersmith, Budokan, Rio in stickers that have outlived a dozen tour managers. He runs a thumb along the checking in the finish. Dominic to the silence to the boy on the bridge. We did it right. His phone vibrates. 18 missed calls, 1,000 messages climbing like ivy. Headlines, clips, edits, think pieces. Praise and poison braided like thorn and vine. He turns the screen face down again. Dominic deciding, not tonight, a knock. Sharon pokes her head in. Sharon, he's looking for you. Dominic, coming. He stands, gently recases the guitar, whispers thank you to the wood, to the hands that made it, to the man who tuned it to mercy. Ozzy is in his dressing room, the air smelling faintly of tea leather and the particular electricity of an undone stage suit. The pictures on the wall are a life, Mississippi of black and white into a delta of color. Sharon hovers not like a moth, like an angel who knows clipboards. Ozzy, there he is. Our boy who found the exit sign. Dominic smiles. I'll never forget that tip. Ozzy, never forget the boy on the bridge. He's your exit and your entrance. He lifts his hands. Dominic bends his head because you don't need a church for a benediction. Only a will and a witness. Ozzy lays those hands on his hair like a father, like a brother, like a king retiring his sword long enough to teach a squire the weight. Ozzy, quiet prayer. May your keys be true. May your time be merciful. May your fame be smaller than your soul. A tear jumps the barrier in Dominic's eye and runs straight, no theatrics. Dominic, amen. Ozzy chuckles. Ozzy, didn't know you prayed. Dominic, I do now. They hold each other's gaze. In it, there's the swap of something no contract can write. Inheritance signed in breath and song. A last knock. The night wants to be finished. Managers have cars idling. A stadium wants to sleep. Sharon, we have to go. Ozzy, to Dominic. We're not saying goodbye. We're saying, he looks for the word, Dominic. To be continued. Ozzy grins. The grin people drew on notebooks in 1981 and never quite got right. Ozzy, yeah, that they hug. It isn't grand. It's right. Dominic steps back into the corridor. The night sucks him up like a tide pulling back through kelp and pilings. He doesn't float. He swims. Behind him, Ozzy exhales, closes his eyes for a second that holds more than sleep. Sharon kisses his temple. That simple sacrament that held wars at bay for decades. Narrator. And somewhere under the steel and night, the city that raised him hummed like an amp cooling, a promise that the dark would not have the last verse.